I will once again ask if there are any points which should be discussed right now, or do we have some things which has to be taken up again? We do have a comment from Luis Villa. Please, Luis.
Sorry, you guys are gonna get bored from me. That's why I made the comment on the chat. Again, I really appreciate your work. I was actually on the website looking into your documentation. Quite interesting work. There's a difference between open source and public domain, and I just wanted to clarify that, just in case some people are listening to us. And that difference has been highlighted in the past 2 decades, let's say, and it's very different. Public domain, people can do whatever they want with it, and open source, there is a sort of guarantee that others who use the technology cannot close it, and whoever is operating with that technology has some sort of there's a guarantee of return over investment, in the sense where whoever takes on the technology and improves it has to give something back to the community. We can talk about that in more detail. I mean, it's not the topic right now. I just wanted to make that distinction between, it means that when you base your industrial development on open source, doesn't mean that everybody else has access to everything you do and they can do whatever they want with it. It means that there's a collection of a collective group of industries or companies or universities, the people that are working around the same technology. And there are a certain number of guarantees that whatever effort you put into keeping that technology running, you will get it back, and you won't be that deprived from your efforts. A lot of like the Linux system does, but there's not only by all means just the Linux model. There are many models around, and it's something that's really worth having a time to discuss about it. Your work, it's really interesting to have a time to think about how it can be digitalized, how you can use open source 3D modeling software to make not only available the design, but also that whoever wants to take it on and work on it doesn't have to pay a license to use the software to work on that. And that kind of stuff, that's really an interesting discussion. Again, we're more than interested into taking that on. There's a lot of knowledge you guys are, all the different designs that you're showing, showcasing here really show that this community has the power to put together a common design. But there are ways of doing it so that everybody feels safe to do this and to build their business model on this. I mean, I would say that's my message, to make that distinction between doing something that is open bar and open source. They're not the same thing. Right, that's it.
Thank you, Luis. Daniel Pagini, you have some comments?
Thank you for the differentiation. Then, of course, not being in the specific field, then sometimes we use the wrong terms. So, well, as far as I understood from what you said, we are talking about 20-year time as a, with this definition, it's 10 or 20 years time old. And that's the thing that we call it open source, but the thing is that the manuals developed by Folkecenter date back in the 80s and all over up to the 90s, I think. And the idea is that, I mean, in that time, wind was still not so strong technology. The industry was not so present as it is now. So it was a mean for developers, for small and medium-sized enterprises to enter in the business, which means Folkecenter would have the time and would devote the resources into making the research to develop wind turbines which were working, which were testing, and which are of good quality. And then there would be these blueprints made, and then anyone who would, for example, industry working with metal, they knew how to operate with the components, but they didn't know how to size them. And the issue is that with small companies, the research part, it's often the most heavy duty task. So in this way, Folkecenter developed this manual so that we would take care of the research part and then leave the manual there. And then if company one wants to take it and from there building up something further, then of course that will be their product. But they all start from the same base, from a working prototype, which they could replicate and they could start selling with their own modifications. Just so to say, the open source part, it's really good that you bring it. It's just, it has been before that. It has been, in the 80s already that this started. So, it's just to make understand the concept and to see what are the options. And as Malten said, we have manuals for wind turbines from 7.5 kilowatt to half a megawatt. And the reason why they are not being used is because we have seen that the industry is going towards bigger models now. But there is still a big demand also for these smaller sizes. So it's a pity that these manuals are not being used more. That was just to clarify.
Thank you very much, Daniele. Yes. Are there any comments or suggestions coming in? Well, it doesn't seem so. We have had our last presentation, and right now, according to the program, we will have a discussion or evaluation. I think that we anyhow, yesterday we had some points about the certification and the labeling of the wind turbines, and we've had a bit of it today as well. And that's some of the things coming out of this conference, that it will be important to do this work, also to make sure that the end users are knowing what they are buying. And of course, also we had the discussion about, or the comments about open sources, which are very important too. And this, of course, we will also be putting into our evaluation paper about the matters. But if there are nothing more from all you participants, I think we will close off and to say thank you very much for this time. And we will say goodbye, and we will say good night and good afternoon and good morning and whatever, wherever you are around in the world. Thank you very much for your participation, and please make sure that you sometimes go into the website homepage for Folkecenter and see what is going on here and coming events and so on. It might have your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I wish you a good weekend when it starts tomorrow, or whenever it starts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much. Great seeing you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.